When five friends inadvertently cause a deadly car accident, they cover up their involvement and make a pact to keep it a secret rather than face the consequences. 1 year later, the past comes back to haunt them as they learn someone knows what they did last summer. Stalked by a mysterious killer, they soon seek help from two survivors of the legendary Southport massacre of 1997. So this movie just came out a few days ago, and I literally technically came out today, but I watched it last night in like an early pre-screening kind of thing in my cinema, and I have to say I loved it. I absolutely loved it. There will be spoilers for this. I actually went in blind. I didn't know, I didn't watch a single trailer, I didn't know anything. All I knew was that I wanted to make a video on it, and I didn't even know that it's actually a sequel to I Know What You Did Last Summer in 1997, and then there is also another one that came out in 1998, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, and apparently there are a few shows and stuff, but I've actually not watched any of them, so I really went into this one blind, and halfway through like the first part, I was like, is this actually a horror movie? I told my boyfriend it was a horror movie, but I didn't know if it was a horror movie, and I was like, I could be sorely mistaken here, but it was a horror movie. And I of course have my notes to talk about this and rant about this because I loved this movie. I have not loved a horror movie in a very long time. This movie was incredible. I think it's probably one of the best movies I've seen this year, not to be dramatic, and I'll explain why it's the best. And let's just get into it. Of course, spoilers will be involved in this rant here. So let's get into it, and make sure to comment below what you guys think of this movie. Let me get my notes up. So at the first kind of portion of the movie, I was a little bit worried with the dialogue at the start. She was like, I miss you, mom. There was a picture frame saying best friends of her and Madeline Klein's character, Danica. So to start it off, we start with Ava getting out of the car, our main girl, our final girl. She gets out of the car, and this guy is like, it's good to see, like, have you back home kind of thing, you know, insinuating Ava's home. That's great, whatever, I get it. But then she kind of looks in the mirror and she's like, picking out a dress, and she's like, no, you know, you're gonna see your ex-boyfriend here, you just have to dress nice and blah 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 and all this stuff. And it's kind of just like, to me, it was very cringy exposition that like could have been told better, and that made me a little bit worried about the writing we were going to see in this movie. But I actually really loved the first song they played was, I believe, Love Me Not. It's such a good song. See, right now, I need you. Anyways, such a good song. And if there is a good score to a movie, I am always down. So let's start with our main characters and who they are played by. To wrap it up, you know, I'm trying to be here. So we have Madeline Klein as Danica, so we'll go through the five friends. Madeline Klein as Danica. We have Chase Sue Wonders as Ava Brooks, Tyreek Withers as Teddy Spencer, Sarah Pigeon as Stevie Ward, and then we have, where is Milo? Why is he not on the, we have Jonah Hauer King as Milo. So those are our main cast there, and then we of course have Jennifer Love Hewitt, who I love, reprising her role as Julie James from the first one, and then we also have Freddie Prinze Jr. reprising his role as Ray Bronson, and the director is Jennifer Caton Robinson. The running time is almost 2 hours long. And so yeah, let's get back into the start. So the start was that it had a really good score though. I loved the songs of this movie. I really loved the Gen Z slang with like the summer vibes mixed with like such gruesome kills. It's like 1 minute someone is getting gutted like a fish, like hooked up, and then the next minute it's like a fun like Renee rap song. Like I loved the juxtaposition, I want to say. So anyways, we need to of course get into what happens. So Madeline Klein's character Danica is getting married. There's an engagement party to the character Teddy, and they're at this engagement party, and afterwards they're hanging out. Ava, Milo, Danica, and Teddy are all hanging out, and they're like, hey, isn't that Stevie from school? We find out that Stevie is a bit of a misfit. She had to stay back due to rehab and losing her dad. I think her dad ran away with money, and so there was a lot of vibes there. And you know, there's like a median. Stevie's the one out. She's not in a relationship with any of them. She doesn't know them as well. Like, she doesn't know them anymore kind of thing. But they're like, why don't we invite her to come watch the fireworks, you know? So they go and watch the fireworks, and my heart was already pumping because they were being so reckless with their driving and scaring Danica, who was driving sober. And they get up to this road, and Teddy is high out of his mind. So what does he do? He's standing in the road, he's being an idiot, and he causes a crash, which is our first death of the movie. I believe his name is Sam Cooper. I mean, it's probably not going to be in the cast list. His name is Sam Cooper or something like that, and he drives off the road to not hit Teddy, and he dies. And Ava wants to tell someone, so does Stevie, but they all ultimately agree to not tell anyone because they don't want to get in trouble. So they lie. Teddy's dad, who's like the big, I don't think he's a mayor, but he's like the big guy of the town, covers it up for them to protect their identity and protect his son, basically. And they all agree until Stevie realizes who is in that car. Yes, Stevie knows him. So there's that. I'm not obviously going to explain the whole movie, but I do have some notes from everything. I loved this movie, but I've never wanted something to be over more in my life. I literally watched half of it closed. Like, my eyes were like shut. I was gripping my boyfriend for dear life. Nah, I hated it. I'm never watching another horror movie in cinemas. Hell nah. Like, I can do like paranormal, but like hooks, spear guns, oh hell nah. And so it fast forwards to a year later, which is where we're in the primary chunk of the story. And we have a great subversion, which I have to say I really loved how they did this. So Ava and Milo are back in town, and they're back in town because of Danica's bridal shower, and we obviously in our minds are expecting this to be for Teddy, until she goes, "Why are you here early?" and someone kisses her, and I kid you not, I looked at my boyfriend and I'm like, that's not Teddy, that's not the same actor. I was like so confused. And we actually find out she is re-engaged to a different man because Teddy kind of flunked out of the wedding 1 month until it because of the pure stress and alcoholism and all of this stuff from lying about the murder. So we find out she's actually dating or engaged to this guy called Wyatt, who will be setting up our first kill. So she's opening all the presents, and she opens this card, and it comes up with an ominous, "I know what you did last summer," which is, I love a good old trope of something happening and then it catching up to you, which is obviously what we see here. Had a hit and run, and then it brings into this. And so the first kill we see is a really great scene, and it's the first time we see the slicker costume, the hook, the spear gun, and it's really scary. It's really suspenseful. And the first kill is, unfortunately, poor Wyatt, Danica's husband or fiance, and he gets murdered while she is in the bath with her headphones on. It's a pretty brutal murder. He gets spearfished through his body and then speared again and then hooked for his final death, where he is mantled up where it says, "You can't escape the past." A beautiful message for Danica. And obviously, now widowed and freaked out, she calls the cops, which is where they all kind of realize what is going on. I just love how big and scary they make this killer. So obviously we'll talk about the reveal of who the killer is and who it is in a second, but oh my god, the low camera angles to make them look so tall, the footsteps, the darkness so you can't see their face, it is all just so brutal and sick. Like, I feel like horror movies oftentimes make their killers just seem like baboons and so dumb, but I feel like they really made this killer ominous and scary, and I love it. Madeline Klein honestly killed it in this movie. Like, she really was great. She's so great at playing these characters of like a bit ditzy and a bit popular and goofy, and she did such a great job. She really brought light to the screen, I think. Ava and Julie being final girls are great, especially if you watched the first one. This is a great callback to that. But I have to say, the kills were so fucked. I'm not going to talk about all the like kills in this video, but I am going to talk about a very specific one. So when Teddy gets killed, Teddy's dad, who I believe his name is like Grant or something, or is that their last name? He's not even on here. He's not even... Okay, I guess because the movie's not fully released, the cast list is like not very good right now. But Grant, I believe his name is Grant, is Teddy's dad. And he comes out to see Teddy dead and grabs him and is not paying attention to the fact that the killer is behind him. And he gets like hooked through his neck. Oh, I literally was pulling this one. Covering my ears, covering my eyes. Not today. I could not... The sound of the like... and like the look of it coming through the neck made me want to vomit. I'm not even kidding. Like, that's the closest I've been to vomiting while watching a movie. Sickening. There at the end, they also revealed, like, there was a end credit scene with Julie, and I believe it might have been a girl from like the sequel or something, the other sequel, but they were like, she got another threatening note and it was like a whole thing and they were like, we're back in action. So it seems like they're trying to make another movie again, so make it a real franchise, almost like Scream or something. I'm so glad Danica survived, even though it was completely unrealistic. And why don't we just talk about this whole reveal of the killer right now? So we get revealed that the killer is Stevie, and Stevie then gets shot by Ray to protect Ava. Although, we then find out Ray is also the killer and actually did most of the kills and was helping Stevie. Stevie, like I said, knew Sam Cooper, so was getting revenge on the girls. Actually said we should let Ava go, but Ava figured out that Ray was the killer, so that couldn't happen. But then Julie and Ava teamed up to kill Ray. Stevie did survive, they did mention that, so yeah. But anyways, that was, it was a pretty poor explanation. Danica got absolutely gutted, like with a fish hook. Somehow got out on shore, washed up on the beach and survived. Realistic? No. Am I glad? Yes, because I really, really, really like Madeline Klein's character, so I will suspend my realism for her to survive, for sure. Something I really liked about this movie is it didn't take itself like too seriously. Like, it was still good, but it had fun, you know? It didn't take itself too seriously. It saw the silliness in a horror movie and this theme, but it still worked. And I think this shows that a lot of times shows will take themselves not seriously, or they'll make fun of something and they'll not put any effort in. And then it's like, actually, my last video, I made a video talking about The Quarry. And I said The Quarry is a video game where they tried to take classic horror tropes and slasher films and put it into a game and kind of poke fun of it and pay homage to it. And in this, they used very hollow tropes to pay homage to the bad kind of tropes of slasher films. And I said this doesn't work because it just feels rushed and lazy. This shows that you can pay homage to things, you can poke fun at things, you can be a bit silly and still actually make it good. So that was really good. I absolutely loved the killer reveal. It was great. I really didn't expect Stevie, and you can say, well, was I watching with my eyes closed? I kind of was, okay? But I really didn't expect Stevie. I was just shocked. I don't know. It makes sense looking back because she wasn't as scared as the rest and she was happy to like be alone. But I do like that because I think if I watch it again, which I won't because it was terrifying, but if I watched it again, I would see how it was kind of Stevie. Whereas I feel like the first time I watched it, it did catch me off guard a little bit. The suspense, honestly, throughout all of this was great. I'm really shocked they killed the podcast girl, to be honest, but I don't know. She kind of felt a little bit useless. I feel like she didn't do too much, but I guess she did explain the first one, which helped, but it was sad to see her go so soon, I do have to say. But lastly, I wanted to jump onto some issues I had with the film. There was very little, but there was a few. Number one, Milo's character, so he dies. Also, boring death, might I add. Boring character, boring acting, boring death. I feel like I don't know if it was the writing or the acting, but it just felt like nothing. Like, he just wasn't giving me anything. Like, at least Teddy gave us something, you know what I mean? Like, he gave us something to go off. Was he a little bit of a douchebag? Yes, but he gave us something. Whereas Milo just gave us nothing. The only thing he gave us was the best line where, come on man, you can punish her, you can punish her. Like, that was like the only good line, and then he died 2 seconds later. But he honestly gave nothing throughout the film. I did not care when he died, and his death was boring. He just got choked out. Boring! Like, I don't know, it was just a whole boring character. Like, was he needed? Yeah, but like, could have given us more, I don't know. But other than that, I actually really liked all the cast. I feel like that's why I was struggling to watch, because in usual horror movies, I actually don't give two shits about any of the cast. Like, they're always usually really boring or bad acting, whereas I feel like a lot of these actors really pulled through with their acting. And the writing was good for their characters, which made them super likable. The only character's death I didn't care about was Milo's. Everyone else, I was like, that's so sad, no. And on top of that, the only other issue that I had does have to do with Milo again. And it was Milo's phone was like taken with his body, and he wasn't revealed to have died. Like, Stevie or Jay, whoever killed Milo, messaged, I just need some space right now, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like it would have been really great if I originally thought, the reason I didn't think it was one of the group is because Teddy messaged Milo, I'm going to the gym, and I was like, oh my god, the killer's gonna be there, this is where he's gonna die. And I was kind of hoping it was like whoever the killer was had his phone, and the phone came into it more because people were messaging Milo, and Milo was obviously part of the group chat, so they were like messaging Milo where he was, where they were going, and blah 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 blah. So then it was kind of like the killer had a bit more of a tactical advantage having Milo's phone and having them not know why he died. You know what I mean? Like, I just felt like, yeah, that would have been nice. But obviously it didn't really end up mattering because Stevie was the murderer. So obviously Stevie knew where everyone was anyways. I also felt like they didn't do anything, like with Teddy and Teddy's dad, they both got hung up to like symbolize. I felt like all the people who died got symbolized in somehow to like point fear in the town. The podcast girl got hung for fear. Teddy and Grant murdered, hung up, strung up for fear. Wyatt posed for fear. The only other one who didn't get like posed or done anything for fear was the video camera guy from the grave, and that was purely just because they needed the cameras erased and that was a pure tactical kill. But Milo didn't have anything. They didn't, like, Stevie or Jay didn't even like announce his death. Ava just so happened to find him. And it's just like, I don't know, like proving once again Milo was freaking useless. But that is all. It was honestly a absolute fabulous movie. I loved the fun summer teen vibes mixed with the absolute most gruesome kills ever. Some of these kills were absolutely scary and the movie really terrified me and great suspense. Honestly, I loved the camera angles, I loved the acting, and I loved the directing and writing of it all. It was honestly a really, really great movie. If you haven't watched it yet, I heavily recommend it if you're a horror fan, or even if you just like a good movie, because it was really great. But that is all. Have you watched it? Did you like it? What did you think of it? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you all later. Bye!